Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, I forgot we're still recording.
We are recording.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Welcome to Holy Chat.
Holy chat.
I'm Levi Dugan,
And I'm Carlos Ramirez.
and we have moved from witches to ghosts today in our conversation in
Yes.
this October month. There's a great weird author named Flannery O'Connor. You ever heard of her
Yeah.
before? She, kind of hard to read, honestly. Very modernist Southern author from like the 1950s,
Oh, cool.
60s.
Huh.
She died too young. And in fact, I think there might be a movie coming out about her soon. But she talked about the South a lot, the American South. And she called Southerners in America a Christ-haunted people. So we're going to talk about hauntings today, Christ hauntings.
I like that.
And she was going a particular direction with it, but it's always struck me that it makes total sense, especially in Southern America, not South America, but Southern America, the Southern United States, that we are Christ haunted in the sense that we like to claim Christ, and we sort of have some language that's kind of biblical language, but we don't actually live like Christ most of the time. So to be Christ haunted in a way is to sort of wear the Halloween costume of Christ, but not actually be a follower of Jesus Christ, right? And as we were talking a little while ago about the scripture that you love, I was just thinking about that dichotomy of a group of people who would claim Christ and present as Christian on the outside, but fundamentally at their core looked nothing like Jesus, right? So you had brought up this scripture about this. Maybe you can tell them what you were telling me about the story Jesus was telling about finding Christ.
Right. So this is one of those hard passages that we preachers run away from.
We're going to dumb it way down.
Yeah. We do not like to talk about. Well, we don't. I don't think I have heard a sermon from this one.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah. Challenge accepted. Okay. Good. Go to Kaylee or Piedmont and they will know.
There you go.
Anywho, so it is on Matthew 24. We said, yeah, 24 and starting on 23. And this is so Jesus is warning his disciples, kind of in the end of times, right? He's doing this apocalyptic speech, as it's called, and the disciples say, well, when do we know that you're coming back, and when do we know that the kingdom of God is going to be realized on earth? And they said, well, there's going to be signs, and all these things are going to happen. But one of the things that Jesus said is if warns against it says the following, as I said in Matthew 24, starting in 23, verse 23. Then if somebody says to you, look, here's the Christ, or over there, don't believe it. False Christs and false prophets will appear. Now, what we were discussing, what I was talking about, it is that in our society today, from many voices, we hear, well, the problem, they spell out the problem, right, of the world, and from politicians, from people of faith, from church leaders, celebrities, what do they call it now? Podcasters, influencers, everybody say, well, the problem is this, and I have a solution for you, right? So everybody poses the problem, and then they post a solution, and of course it is on their camps, right? And the problem is this, and therefore we need to be doing this or this or that. The problem is this, we should be doing this or that. And we who are listening are kind of caught in the middle, right? I'm not saying that we are just innocent bystanders, but we consciously or unconsciously decide which narrative we fall into, right? Which narrative it is to discern which is the way to go. And we coming back to narratives. We talk about this last episode about the witches and the narrative. So I think is that the theme is narratives that create reality, that therefore we fall into these camps and we start to fight against each other.
I think this is what really blows my mind, is that a story you tell yourself becomes your reality, even if it's not reality.
Yeah.
That kind of scares me. And I have to take a step back and think about this, but let me see if I'm understanding you right. So let's just use an example, like an example from our real life. So you have politicians on the right and the left, and on the right they're saying we have all the answers for you, we're right and they're wrong, and on the left they're like we have all the answers for you and we're right and they're wrong.
That's right.
And in a way, even though they're not always literal about it, they're sort of claiming Christ for themselves. They're like, we're the ones that are going to heal the world. No, we're the ones that are going to heal the world. And they have their own idea about what that looks like.
Right.
Some more violent, some less violent, some more aggressive or less aggressive, some more institutional, some anti-institutional, the different approaches, but they're both claiming the solution.
Yes. And we can say that's also with religious leaders.
Of course, yeah.
Same thing,
Religion, politics, city council meetings, right? There's all kinds of ways we claim the right and the wrong. Right. And what's hard for me, I know, and for lots of people out there, that big mushy middle you're talking about, is how do we discern, which is a fancy religious word for how do we figure out or judge who's right and who's wrong, and if either, and where we should place our values, our votes, our time, our energy. How do we have that discernment?
Yes.
So spiritual way?
Let me go just one before we go to the. So how do we discern? So give you our take on our answer on this.
Yeah.
So because you were saying that everybody's kind of claiming a Christ or something, and in many ways. So I want to just clarify what do we mean by that.
Yeah.
And if you see in any rhetoric, in any speech, in any ways that anybody does, from preachers to sometimes maybe mom or dad or the uncle, to politicians, to anybody, this is roughly what the rhetoric map is. There is a problem. There is something that caused the problem. Here is the solution, and I can help you doing that solution. I can be that person, or the institution can be that person, or the denomination can be that person, or the thing that saves you from the problem. So if you see that is the rhetoric map. So there's a problem. The cause of the problem. We can be that, and we can save. So that become a salvific, if you will, enterprise.
So I alone can save you.
Yes, that's right.
And, right. So whoever's talking, and when they start claiming that salvation from the problem, that's where your ears should go up, and you should start the discernment process.
That's right. So figuring it out. So the discernment process. So how to know, and I think that. I think Jesus gives us a whole lot of options, a lot of things. One is you will know them by their fruits, right? We will know by their content of their character. And so we start to discern or start to figure it out. Are these people, whoever it is talking, are they talking as a personal that they have the answer, or really pointing to something greater than themselves, right? I think that will be always to point it to Jesus, to point it to God. In our case, right? In our case, and I think in other spheres will be to the people, to what is best for for the majority of people, not just for some. And if these love your neighbor, love your enemy. Give the benefit of the doubt. Jesus' beatitudes probably be your other parameters of discernment.
I was just thinking very practically as you were talking, like what the Bible calls the fruit of the Spirit. God's Spirit produces fruit inside of us, and that's love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control, which is the one nobody wants. Self-control?
Dang it.
So close, But, those fruit of the Spirit are ways, as you said, you know them by their fruits. Well, those would be the fruit, right? And if someone, a leader, a family member, a clergy person, a rabbi, whoever it might be, is telling you to ignore those kinds of values, of love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and goodness, like, then you really should question whether you should be discerning a path along the path they're blazing rather than some other way, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
And again, well, coming back to the narrative. So, which narrative would you want to be part of or involved in? And I think that there is plenty of now research and stats and surveys that point that, like you say, in the mushy middle, it is that really us in the USA, we are neither extreme side or the other extreme side, or extreme right, extreme left, but we are somewhere in between. And that we all, in many ways, are ready and longing to compromise. We know, I mean, if you have a relationship, any relationship, you know that there is always some sort of compromise, that you cannot always get your way, and that other person can never always get their way, and that there is this, always this, toggle, if you will, war, if you will. I don't know if there were war, but it's a toggle that is always happening.
Yeah. Well, and if I could just say, like, it's important to think of the consequences of not compromising.
Yeah.
Just in a sermon recently in church, I put up a picture of a city that was destroyed by war. The buildings were completely collapsed, and just rubble everywhere. And I asked the congregation, I said, what do you think this is a picture of? And they said, oh, that's like London in World War II, or Berlin in World War II. And it did look like that. So they were shocked when I said, no, this is Richmond, Virginia in 1865.
Wow.
Richmond, Virginia looked like Berlin in 1945. It was leveled to the ground.
Wow.
The brick buildings were almost gone. They were just skeletons of themselves. And I said, just call Richmond Piedmont or Yukon or Edmond or New Jersey or Florida. Just change the location. It could be anywhere. The consequences of us trying to destroy one another is we end up destroying one another. Right?
Yeah.
Now, certainly it was a great cause there in overcoming slavery, and that became necessary. But it was the unwillingness of people to move forward together and find a solution that led to the ultimate war itself. And so sometimes war happens. The Holocaust was awful and it needed to stop. And slavery was awful and it needed to stop. But there are some times when, disagreements about bathrooms or, immigration or wokeness or whatever it might be, is that really worth leveling a city to the ground? Not to me personally. And when I look at those discernment values of Jesus, they don't fall nowhere in those discernment values do I see blowing up stuff. I just can't find it. Can you?
No.
I just can't find blowing up stuff in Jesus' teachings anyway.
No, and that is why I think that he is warning his disciples, because so just think about it. If you choose one over the other, you chose a side, and you are going to diametrically oppose the other side. So if this is your Christ, then this cannot be my Christ. Therefore, we need to fight.
Therefore, they're evil.
They're evil
because they're anti-Christ.
That's right. There you go. Yeah.
So
they says, hold it. Look at, these. Look at me or look at God. In this sense, is this sermon process of figuring it out. Is it kind? Is it good? Is it joyful? Is it faithful? Is it self-control and all those things? Love enemy, love one another as ourselves. I put it in that balance and put it in the narratives into that pit and into that. What is it when you do this in the? How do you call it when you put
the gold sieving?
Gold sifting. Yeah. If you put your narrative in there and it sifts and it does not pass, then most likely it's not probably no benefit for you. And I think that, as I said, the majority of people, the majority in these countries, want and desperately need and want and long for this compromise. And a third narrative that says, well, yeah, things are not good, things could be better, but how can we together find a way forward
Yeah.
without.
Yeah.
We don't need to tear each other apart and fight and fight. We can disagree, of course, and we will disagree. But that does not mean that we need to level cities to the ground, blame, witch hunt, do any. And again, because if we truly want to be kind, if it truly is self-control, if it truly is generosity, then we're going to behave differently.
Yeah. And oftentimes, they say something I don't think is very controversial, which is if you're following a popular culture leader, they're probably not Christ-like, generally speaking, because what it takes to get there is not usually Christ-like. No, it's not 100%, but at least it puts your antenna up, like, oh, maybe I need to pay attention if I'm listening a lot to this person or these people, as opposed to listening to the wisdom of the ancient traditions like Judaism, like Christianity, like Islam, like Hinduism and Buddhism and Taoism. These are ancient traditions, and they have a lot of shared values, and none of their shared values really involve a lot of conflict.
No.
It's a lot of love and mercy. Mercy is huge in all the faith traditions, the major ones. And, you know, in American culture, it's such a competitive culture. It's capitalism. It's compete. You know, in the New Testament, I can only think of one verse about competing against each other.
Really?
Can you guess which one it is?
No.
It's one of my favorite verses. Paul writes in the book of Romans, outdo one another in love.
Allah.
So the only verse that I can remember about competition is to beat the other people in loving them.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it also says, owe no one anything except love.
Yeah.
So don't be in debt to anyone except that you're always in debt to love them. So just, it's crystal clear in the Christian tradition and teaching. It could not be vague at all. No. And yet we really allow people to confuse and obfuscate the beautiful teachings that you and I follow.
Yes. So to wrap it up, have your antenna up. Beware when people say...
Watch out for ghosts.
Yeah, watch out for ghosts, yes. When people say, oh, do I have the solution for you? And, you know, that whole redemption story that involves them and the product that they have. And you know, pointed you to someone that is God, Christ. And through those lenses, you can start to discern, to figure it out, to understand if they pass a sifting, if that narrative passes a sifting or not.
Yeah.
And if not, then beware.
That was easy.
Another one bites the dust.
Until next time.
Peace.